What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Dakota Johnson, star of the flop movie Madam Web. You didn't see it. I didn't see it. It's okay. The point of this story is that Dakota Johnson is being very vocal about why she feels that the movie flopped and why she was disillusioned with it, and this is rubbing the executives in Hollywood the wrong way, in particular Sony. And the fear is that Dakota Johnson might be about to find herself blacklisted, never to work again in Hollywood, and that would be unfortunate. But let's get into what Dakota Johnson had to say. In a recent interview with Bustle, Dakota Johnson said, "Unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this has gone down the way it has. But it was definitely an experience for me to make that movie. I had never done anything like it before. I probably will never do anything like it again. That's for sure. Because I don't make sense in that world. And I know that now." She continued, "Sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing. And then as you're making it, it becomes a completely different thing. And you're like, wait, what?" She goes on to say, "But it was a real learning experience. And of course, it's not nice to be part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand. It's so hard to get these movies made. And in these big movies that get made, and it's even starting to happen with the little ones, which is really freaking me out, decisions are made by committees. And art does not do well when it's made by committee. Films are made by a filmmaker and a team of artists around them. You cannot make art based on numbers and algorithms. Amen. Algorithms. My feeling has been for a long time that audiences are extremely smart and executives have started to believe they're not." Woo! That's not something that you can say, although we all know this is true because Hollywood and everything that's been coming out of Hollywood for at least the last 20 years has been nothing but a big insult to our collective intelligence. Dakota Johnson is telling the truth. Why she would find herself in hot water is just more of an example of that. Audiences will always be able to sniff out bullshit. This is Dakota Johnson saying this now. Audiences will always be able to sniff out bullshit, even if films start to be made with AI. Humans aren't going to effing want to see those movies. Wow. Okay, well, Dakota Johnson, like I said, she is telling that hot truth. Now, from what I know and from what I gather of the way Hollywood works, this is an example of the reasons why actors and people who work on these movies are not allowed to tell the truth, right? What they would rather see Dakota Johnson do is toe the line like all of the other actors that come out. When the movie flops, they're automatically supposed to blame the audience. Dakota Johnson is not doing that. She says that the audiences, they're smarter than the studio executives give them credit for. They sniff out the BS and they don't want to see it. She is squarely placing the blame on the studio heads, which reminds me of something that Chris Stuckman said. All right. Now, I feel that Chris Stuckman might have got a bad rap for what he said regarding Madam Web. And I was one of the people at first who said the same thing, that Chris Stuckman had sold out. But then I went and watched the entire video instead of just the clip that was on Twitter. And it seems to me that Chris Stuckman isn't saying anything differently than what we've been saying in this fandom for the longest, which is you really can't blame the actor. You really can't blame the people behind the scenes, technical people. You know, after all, once again, with The Last Jedi, everyone can agree that the movie looked great, right? So where's the breakdown when these movies look great? The music sounds good, the costume design is good and everything like that. But where's the breakdown? The breakdown is exactly what Dakota Johnson is saying. It's with these movies that are made by committee, the writers, and what they're allowed to write. And that is actually what Chris Stuckman was saying. As somebody who is probably trying to get into the industry, he makes movies and things like that, he would take it from a different point of view. Where he is saying that my biggest fear is not to be able to make the movie that I want to make. So why waste time dumping on the actor or the actress? Why waste time dumping on the movie that we all know is shit as it is? And let's get down to identifying what exactly the problem is. And I think that's more likely what Chris Stuckman was saying. He was saying that as a movie reviewer, it's a waste of time to continue to point out when a movie is shit. When we all know that the movie is shit, we accept that the movie is shit. Evidently, it is shit. But let's get into the deeper problem, why the industry is as sick as it is, and why it's so hard to get a quality, satisfying entertainment experience at the theater these days, right? So you're making a run around the obvious and going straight towards diagnosing what the problem is. Dakota Johnson took a huge step and a huge risk in doing that. Now, it seems to be a difference when you get Sydney Sweeney to go on Saturday Night Live and make a joke about it, but Dakota Johnson is boldly declaring that these movies are made by committee. She said not just big budget Hollywood films, but now even smaller films are. So it gets even more artificial. It gets even more unsatisfying. And of course, we see this because the industry seems to be more preoccupied with checkboxing than they are with actually producing anything of substance. And so they use people, they use conditions, and they exploit race, and they exploit sexuality, they exploit gender, but to the cost of the quality, which has always been my issue with all of this. And a lot of us talk about this. So for Dakota Johnson to be brave enough to say that, I have to applaud her. You know, I have to give her her props for this because she is telling the truth. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens after this as far as her career is concerned, because if she actually is blacklisted, then we know for sure exactly what's going on with Hollywood. But then, of course, we've seen this before. We've seen this with Gina Carano. And the funny thing about it is that these are women, right? So here's Hollywood pretending that they care about the voices of the underrepresented, you know, be it women, be it black people, you know, be it gay people, whatever the case may be. But what they expose themselves as are exploiters. And once you show yourself to be capable of independent and critical thought, they have no use for you. So it's really not about representing the so-called marginalized and underrepresented. What it really is about is control. It's about image, you know? So, once again, hats off to Dakota Johnson and anybody else out there who is brave enough to tell the truth. I hope we start seeing some more of this because it's the only way that we're going to get this thing to turn around. But in this day and age, it just goes to show the importance of us having our independent voices to speak on these things, because you're not going to get this from the media. You know, here this young lady is facing a blacklisting. But she's facing a blacklisting for saying what we, the audience, go figure, have been saying for years. So you see right there where the breakdown is. All right, so guys, anyway, you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about what Dakota Johnson said. She's the star of this movie. You would think she would toe the line, but no, she's telling the truth. I believe that she deserves our support and our respect, but you guys can get in the comment section and let me know what you think. As always, I thank you for watching. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and once again, thank you for the super thanks. I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.